a job offer yesterday morning to be the morning person on Hippie Radio.
Your guys are being streamed.
Cindy, has some county auditors said to you about them trying to, they're getting charged sales tax for their building project?
Nope.
This is a whole big thing, but yeah, this has been quite a dispute. They've been working with them because we're not supposed to be paying sales tax.
Right.
Getting charged.
We get paid, we pay excise tax, but not sales tax, but who's, is it the state that's going after him?
Yeah. Sounds like the taxation.
So who's charging?
Well, the Department of
South Dakota Department of Revenue.
They are, they should.
Good Lord.
Says required to pay use tax on materials purchased by the county and provided to a contractor and used.
Well, that is kind of a fine line. I have heard of that. And we do have to pay that occasionally if if a contractor that we've hired, we do have to pay the sales tax, I think.
Okay, so that's the, if we purchase it and do it ourselves, we don't have to, but if we
Right.
hire it done, then we do.
That sounds, yeah. I have 9 a.m.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday, December 11th. Time 9 o'clock, time for our weekly Cottington County Board of Commissioners weekly meeting. We'll open the meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance. And Lee, you want to lead us this morning?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Housekeeping, have a cell phone on, just a reminder to silence it or turn it off. If you get a call that you need to take, please step out into the rotunda so you don't disrupt the meeting. Is there anyone, by the way, this meeting is being streamed live, so if you address the board, you certainly will be on the stream. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board in a item that is not listed in the agenda? Seeing none, is there any board member that has a conflict of interest of any of the items that we have on the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion to approve the agenda
Second.
as is written. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Any discussion? Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item number
Move
2
to
is
approve
the
as emailed.
approve the minutes of the December 4th meeting, and we have a motion by Hatton,
I'll make a second.
a second by Gable. Any discussion? Any changes that you see need to be made? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Let's go right to the reports, and the auditor's with us, so Cindy, you got it.
We have received word from the Department of Revenue that our 2019 budget has been approved, and we just received word yesterday that our tax levies for pay 2019 have also been approved. So we do have people contacting us who want to pay what's called an advance tax, where they do it for their own purposes. It has, nothing to do with the county, but if it's their personal income tax, I believe, or is why they pay it in advance. And we get a number of requests for those every year. So we have had a number of those that we've prepared. We're also working on end-of-year budgets, monitoring those, and working on a couple of reports that are due right after the first of the year.
Okay, any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just for refresher, does the Department of Revenue, do they apply a criteria when they approve the budget
Yeah, they make sure that we have got everything listed the way it's supposed to, that, you know, we don't have too much budgeted for commissioners contingency, that we've used the form that they prescribe and we've followed the rules. So,
Okay.
and that it, our tax collection is within the tax cap.
Right,
So,
okay. And then on the early payments for taxes, is that when people don't want to pay in arrears? So they'll be, or they're just.
no,
pay before the
it's
due date?
it's
They
for
just pay-
income tax purposes, I believe.
But they pay their property tax before the due date, basically?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the property
That's what I
taxes are
done.
not due until January 1, and we have a number of people who, for years, a regular number of people who request that information. And it's called an advance tax, where Carol will take their money, put it into a holding account, and then apply it to the property taxes after the first of the year.
They can
Number
write it
been
off
going
on
up
their-
or down?
Pardon me?
Has that number been rising?
Last year was huge, and I believe it was because of some kind of change that was coming in. It was going to, I don't know for sure, but
Yeah.
last year was huge. We had people coming in who had never done it before. This year, we're back to our regulars, which, you know, not very many do this, so.
Cindy, do we have anyone in the Department of Revenue out in Pier that will be new this year, January 1, with the elections?
No, not with the Department of Revenue. That's not an elected office, so.
Yeah.
We will
So we
have a
don't
new
have to
secretary.
train anyone.
We have a new Secretary of State, and we have been notified that he is keeping on Chantel Krebs's election team, which is really good news. A few years ago, when we had a new Secretary of State come in, he did not choose to do that and came in with a whole new staff, and it was not a smooth transition, right? Yes.
It's interesting, I was up at the Capitol this past weekend, walking up and down the halls, and I'm thinking about, well, there's a lot of people moving in and out right now. Pierre's a busy town, there's a lot of action going on there. People, you know, there's quite a changeover.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Most of them are just
Nothing's
swapping
guaranteed.
offices. Yeah, like
Nothing's
Steve-
guaranteed during an election year
Yeah.
that you'll have your job back.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Director of Equalization. Good morning.
Shauna.
How are you this morning, Shannon?
I'll take it.
Morning, Shauna.
Good morning, everyone.
Shauna, can I have you turn that mic on here? Just push that little white button.
The mic on off.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was way over. Sorry.
The appraisers are currently working on building permits, and they will be for the next couple of months. We are going to Aberdeen tomorrow for the Diffusing Difficult People workshop. I will try and get you information on that. The office staff are working on sales. Like we normally do, we try to get all the different name changes and stuff in before tax bills go out. And then we're working on the flooded farmland applications and our buffer strip applications. We actually only had 2 out of 4 applicants that came in last year, and then no new ones this year. So we only have, like, I want to say 4 total, but 2 different applicants on them. So
During the farm show, there's going to be a booth set up. Upper Sioux River is going to really stress and really try to catch some farmers out there during the farm show and get
Well,
them involved.
I know one of the ones that applied, and she applied last year, they actually planted a bunch more acres of buffer strips, so something's working, so, you know,
Yeah.
they're doing a little more, but,
We just have to keep after it.
yep.
As far as the tax break, that isn't as significant as maybe some of these other programs now, like the Upper Sioux.
It just depends on how big your buffer strip is, and what kind of soils
is under.
is under it, yeah. But, you know, the more you have, the bigger break it's gonna be.
And they need to get in touch with Roger Foote at the Upper Sioux River Watershed, because there's a program there as well. So if we
Yep.
combine the two, then it's a pretty reasonable amount of money that they can receive for doing that. So we really just need to keep pushing it. And I guess you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. That's the way it is.
And then as far as our budget this year moving, we did not go over anything, so we are sitting pretty good with that, so we're
Okay.
good all around.
Any questions for Shauna? Anything?
Thank you.
I do
Thanks,
have
Shauna.
one question. I had one of the notices that we got from the auditor was in reference to right-of-ways
That was roads.
and
that would be
roads.
Rick.
But what office do they contact here to be sure to find out where their right-of-way is?
Register of
Setback.
Deeds. It's
Is
a
it-
Register
it's
of
a
Deeds
setback.
office.
Setback.
Register of Deeds.
The Register of Deeds, that's where I've been
They
sending
would
them.
have to dig back, though, to see where the original easement would be and what the right-of-way is, so it'd take a little bit of digging.
Well, I mean, some of them have, you know, the county has purchased the right-of-ways and some of them they haven't. I would honestly start with us. It'll be easier for us to come up with something and then go to the register of deeds, and way easier for us to try and look stuff up on that. But 9 times out of 10 on our card, it shows if the county owns if the right-of-way or if they still have it. So that's going to be a big thing. And then as far as the setbacks from there.
Do you have the state ones also? 'Cause
Yes,
when the state would come
highway,
through.
yep, the highways, yeah.
And the reason I'm bringing this up now is Cindy asked for a little input or advice, and I thought, when I read it and looked it over and I can't say studied it, but I was looking at it and I thought, well, maybe if we just put a line in there, it said, if you're not certain what your setback is, please contact, and I thought, I was gonna say,
Yeah, but
you
there-
or register
There
deeds.
should be certain, I mean,
I-
if there's a certain setback,
Place to get a start.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think the reason why there wasn't a specific setback is because they're all different.
right.
And it depends on which road and,
Well, we've
which
discovered that many
entity, so-
times
Yeah.
between my place
I
and
think that's
here.
why there wasn't a
Or are they
specific
talking,
setback.
okay, are we talking setback or are we talking right-of-way?
Right away.
Yeah, and then.
The
he was
gentleman who,
talking
he's
setback.
talking setback, but I think he means just,
right-of-way.
where's the right-of-way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you start from the middle of the road? or
Right.
go- Yep. And
Okay.
so generally, we know if there's been any footage to this county or any footage for a highway right-of-way, anything like that. So I think it'd be easier to start with us.
Okay,
So has Steve
Kurt,
been
that's what
down
I
in
wanted
your
to know.
office then looking up?
Steve, he came in yesterday, but he's in the register of deeds looking, which, I mean, you can find there too. And thank goodness their books generally call out where the road is, so you can go in the section, township, and range. But we try to make sure that's on our cards already, so.
Commissioner Waterman, you had a question.
I was just gonna comment, Steve from the weed board is kind of taken on this project off,
Yep.
you know, in the off-season. And basically, we've talked about it, I don't know how many times, and I know he's talked to you and Rick up at the highway department. And it's far from being all the same.
Yes,
Let's
they're
say
all-
that,
yep.
and there's
Yep.
some that aren't even signed.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah, it's not cut and dried, that's for sure.
No.
And by a long way, so, and he'll be working on that again this winter. And it's a multi-year project.
Yeah.
You bet.
Poor guy has learned how to look stuff up in the register of deeds these last few
Yeah.
years.
And he's very diligent at what he's doing.
Yes, he is.
All right,
Well,
thank
because
you.
sometimes that changes, you know, they maybe started out and then they gain more as they go, so it is something you have to follow all the way through.
Yes.
But just an observation, if they're planting beans or corn and they're weaving in and out of those electrical boxes, they're in the right of way. I'll guarantee you that, because the local utilities, the REA, County and Clark Electric, we were very, very observant and always put those boxes on the land of the owner. So
Yes.
if you get on the roadside of that box, you're in the right of way. They're pretty good about doing that. All right, any other questions for Shauna? Thank you, we got some good information, so if you got any questions on right-of-ways,
Call me.
call Shauna.
Yeah.
All right, okay, let's go on number 6. Action to approve the auditor's account with the treasurer and note the register of deeds fees. Cindy?
The Register of Deeds fees for the month of November were $24,440. The second report that I've given you a copy of is the auditor's account with the treasurer, and this is all the cash and cash items that were on hand as of the last day of November, along with the general fund cash balances, special revenue cash balances, and the trust and agency balances, which a little over $1 million will be paid out to the schools, the townships, the the cities and towns for tax collections the county has taken for them.
Move to approve that.
We have a motion to
Auditor's
approve
account.
by Hatton, a second by Waterman. Any discussion? Any questions for Cindy? Pretty much all in black and white here. Thank you. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. We got some old computers we need to get rid of, I see. We need a action to declare computer surplus to be destroyed, and where are they coming from?
Those are 3 computers from my office. I upgraded the workstations for my staff, so I have 3 all-in-one computers. They are 5 years old. I've checked with a local vendor to see about wiping the hard drives so that maybe another department could use them, but they say the cost to wipe the hard drives is more than the computers are going to be worth, and pretty soon the version that they are will not be covered by Microsoft. So it's my recommendation to have them destroyed because they do have confidential payroll information on them.
A motion by Van Duzen, second by Gable. 5 years old?
5 years old, correct.
Just like that'd be like a 2013 car, you know. That's a pretty new car, isn't it, Lee?
Yeah, newer than my cars.
Yeah.
Isn't that something that's what keeps those stores open, I guess?
The issue is the security.
Security,
on
it
those.
is. It's
not that the
confidentiality
machine isn't
information, and, you know, I would feel comfortable if the sheriff's office could use them. I would trust, you know, law enforcement to use them, but but from what I've been told, they will not be supported by Microsoft.
Yeah.
All right, any more discussion? Any more questions for Cindy? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Number 8 is action to approve the 2019 compensation package for elected, appointed, and non-union county employees. You have a insert in your packet from Terry, our HR, and y'all have that, don't you?
Yep.
And I'm sure you've all had a chance to read it.
I'll make a motion to approve that compensation package. That is something that we have been working on for several months, and this was the final
I'll second that.
agreement on that.
We have a motion by Hatton, a second by Gable. Any discussion?
For the purpose of for the benefit of the press, does somebody want to read what those recommendations are?
Okay, here you go. Here, I'm just going to hand it to him.
You still can read it.
I'll read it though. Okay. I recommend the following compensation package for elected, appointed, and non-union employees for 2019. 2% COLA.
Oh, okay.
I'll
did
read it
send
for the
out.
radio though. Don, I'll read it for you. All right, a 2% COLA added to the employee's base wage for 2019. COLA, of course, is a cost of living adjustment. Add pay steps 13 and 14 to our existing 12-step pay schedule. The increase for steps 13 and 14 would be 1.25 per step. 1.25% per step. Supplemental retirement, this is new now. The county will offer a $30 match for employees who contribute $60 or more to their supplemental retirement fund. And this is new. We're really encouraging people to use that. This recommendation is based upon the 2019 agreements we have with our union employees. So it lines up with the agreements that we're working with the union employees. Any other questions, any comments? All right. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Both same sign, motion carries. We have number 9, discussion possible action with Human Service Agency regarding contracts for inmate services. And I don't have that information in front of me.
Not here.
Brad,
2 weeks ago, you asked me to
Yeah.
put this on the agenda, but I haven't
Yeah.
received it.
Mr. Chairman,
And
so,
we're not ready for it yet.
not really, but I can,
Yeah.
just, the sheriff and I have begun researching. So
Yes.
I think the way this is done, it's kind of, you look at a kind of a comprehensive way to provide health care. So the question is, do we want to just try to focus on behavioral health and keep going with the health care that we're doing now, or would we rather do something more comprehensive and hopefully save money and do a better, provide better services? And in my preliminary research, looks like it's kind of a common thing to do to provide, find a provider, so a vendor of some sort that can provide comprehensive health care, so regular medical stuff, but also behavioral health care in the jail. So that's a possibility that we're looking at, and we'd have to. So kind of the next step is when you're talking about a jail that's in a county as small as ours, is that something that's reasonable and feasible to do that? So we've gone out and gotten a few of the existing contracts for a few of the counties in the area, both in Minnesota and in South Dakota, to see what does their plan look like? How are they handling this problem? And so research continues. And this was a suggestion also as we're talking about behavioral health, and we have the part-time behavioral health professional in the jail now. As we're talking about kind of broadening that and trying to deliver something that's a bit more comprehensive, that does a better job. And not that we're doing a bad job now, but it's kind of a little bit of a hodgepodge. So you have some jailers dealing with some of the healthcare issues, and then behavioral health, but trying to would it work better to put it all in one is kind of the question. So
I've been in communication with Brad a little bit, and I think it's a great idea. The only thing we need to be careful of, we don't want to bite off more than we can chew.
yeah.
That's, you understand what I'm saying? We want to do, we can't fix the world, we can take little bites at a time and maybe be all right, but just a thought is what I have.
One of the resources about, this is an interesting point, because one of the resources is there's a nonprofit organization that actually deals with correctional health care. So it's like the National Commission on Correctional Health Care. And they critique RFPs and things like that. One of the things they like to see is 24/7, care, like a nurse or somebody in the jail 24/7. Well, that's an example of something maybe a county our size biting off more than we could chew. So that's the kind of thing we need to think about. Some of the RFPs I looked at were pretty complicated documents, and so that's another question. Who's qualified to author an RFP of that type, unless we just do it.
This is the kind of thing that I hope that the legislators, and we need to talk to our legislators, and if the state and the judicial system in the state of South Dakota wants to look at ways that they can help the local governments, they can support things like this, so we can identify these situations. And it can be too costly for many counties, including ours, to get involved in this. But if there's some assistance through the state judicial system, that certainly would help them, and certainly would help us, of course, too. Just some thoughts that I had. All right.
So I'll keep the sheriff and I'll keep working on that one as quick as we can. But it's kind of it's turning out to be kind of a complicated research project. So
Have you guys looked into NACO, any sort of assistance through there?
they'll have links to the National Correctional Health Care. So I can't remember the full acronym, but so they kind of have those kind of resources. But we'll keep working. Yeah.
All right, let's go to number 10, action to approve change orders for the courthouse remodel project. Harley, you got any?
I don't have any.
Okay, how about Lee?
There's nothing I have right now. A couple that are coming down the pike. One is going to be the court took a look at all the courtroom IT, the full list of all the different technology that's going into that courtroom, and they made some recommendations about some things that maybe to take off that they weren't likely to use in the near future. So the idea would be to leave some of the wiring and the conduit in the remodel, but the actual components themselves that they don't think they're going to need for a while, take those out of the project to save a little bit of money. And that's mostly stuff that would be paid for with the law library fund. And then there's a couple specific change orders related to that I think are coming. One is a TV mount with a large flat screen, getting a better mount for that. and some, and an electrical component that I don't fully understand, but it's some kind of a signal relay. The other thing to make mention of, you call it on last week's change order, it was a reduction in cost of over $10,000, but there was a piece in there that we could use if we thought we needed to touch up that woodwork in the courtroom, and you know, that's something.
Did everybody get a chance to go down and look at what we were talking about last week?
So if
And
you, I don't know what the feeling is of the board, you know, if you guys want.
My feeling is, let's touch it up.
Okay,
That's
well,
my
then-
feeling.
then let me grab it again next week. I'll talk to and we can tee that up as a change order for next week.
If we're doing this much work and getting it to look, let's finish it up. And the price that they quoted, initially I thought, wow, yeah, that's quite a bit. But then after I went down and then, they were down there, the contractors were down there, and they took the plastic off to show me, you know, and there's a lot of dings in there that can be fixed up, and it might as well look nice.
What was the net change on that? It wasn't all that much money,
It
was
was
it?
about 4,800 something.
Yeah, we've got,
I'll bring it back. I'll talk to the contractor, make sure that we can just treat that as a separate
Yeah.
item, and then we can
but
tee it up
this is,
next week.
part of this is an accumulation of problems over the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's from
This is
day
not
one.
just due to
Yeah.
our contractor.
And there's quite a bit of
negligence.
integral work. I
And
don't
a
know
lot
if
of it
that's-
was taking paint off and stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think
Part
it's,
of it,
I think it's
touching up the
a
wood.
lot of it. Yeah, or doing a touch up to cover up the paint, or deal with.
It's just like if you've lived in your house for 100 years, every now and then you're gonna put a nick in the woodwork. And
Yeah, so we'll.
this'll heal it up or cover it up or make it look
Okay, so
pretty again.
I'll get that ready for next week then.
Thank you very much. All right, let's go on to payment of claims. We got a ton of them. I just noted that $1.8 million. I was giving the guys, the people here a bad time early this morning, that they had to quit spending so much money. Goodness sakes. I think this is one of the highest ones I've ever seen.
Well, 439,000 of that is going to the state of South Dakota.
Now you're trying to just,
Of the 1.1 million that we are paying in claims.
There's a lot of jury trials.
There were a lot of jurors that were called in
Yeah.
that we had to pay. Yep, the jury trial is in here, some end of the year dues, upgrade for our email services. Yeah, I've highlighted a few things on the first page. Those dues are for the Commissioners Association, the Officials Association, and NACO. And the state of South Dakota is currently 100% participant in NACO. All the counties in the state, all counties in the state participate in NACO.
I think the first 3 pages were all jury duty and
They were,
Yeah,
jury
it's
duty.
unbelievable.
Yep, a big trial, they had to call in quite a number of potential jurors to interview before they set the jury. Let's see, on page 4, in the auditor's budget, there are the computers that you authorized me to purchase earlier. In the treasurer's budget on that same page, new copier that you authorized the purchase of. State's attorney was authorized to purchase new computers. On page 5, that amount for the court-appointed attorney budget will need to come directly from Commissioner's contingency because that budget has been overspent for the last several months. And that is, we'll have to supplement that, I'm doing that next week. We'll have to supplement the court-appointed attorney budget by $11,440.79.
next week we're gonna do that?
Yeah.
Okay?
On page 8, also new computers for the detention center. On page 9, a new computer for the welfare office. On page 10, the Board of Mental Illness budget, that amount of $2,580.12 will need to be supplemented with Commissioner's contingency because that budget is also overspent. On page 11, the ag building budget, that will also need a supplement before we do payroll. So they'll need a supplement next week, plus after we do payroll, I will probably have both those numbers by next Tuesday since payroll is early
Okay.
this month. That's due in part to the extra work we did when we did that roofing project. On page 12 is our annual joint agreement with the First District Association of Local Governments. That is not the planning and zoning contract. That is our agreement that we have with First District that we've had, I believe, since the 70s. We've been in an agreement with them for $40,926.14. And that amount was approved within the contract that we signed with them earlier.
Because it was a 10-year contract, and I believe it was a 3% increase every year.
All right, you heard the explanation of the
motion
claims. Is
to-
there a motion to accept them?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Hatton, second by Gable. Any discussion?
Cindy, when do are any of the bills coming in from the last man, that last case from last week? When do we start
jury
to see
trial?
those? Yeah.
Well, that defendant had his own attorney, so we will not see that bill, but all the
Okay.
jury claims here are for that. Also, there were a number of witness fees. I think there was an expert witness that was included in this.
Was grand jury involved in that?
Oh, that was state's attorney that had to pay that, that's right. State's attorney had a expert witness fee of $4,464.45. So
Okay.
because it was for the prosecution, it comes out of the state's attorney's budget.
So we're going to be able to have that wrapped up before year end then?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I
Yep.
wonder how many are actually on, looks like they called every single person on jury duty. There's quite a list.
Well,
I mean, typically, how many
I
are
think they
on?
called in maybe around 80 potential jurors to and each time, and each juror that gets called in gets $10. $10 for coming in, and then you get $50 for serving on the jury. There were also a number of witnesses that were called in, and they get $20 for that. For actually sitting on the jury, it was $250 because it was a 5-day trial.
No.
So
And what is our catastrophic legal fund?
catastrophic
what's the
legal
cap?
fund right now is at 0 because we just supplemented that. But we have to have $25,000
That's
in
what it
charge, and
is.
we're not gonna
Okay.
get there with this case.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because the defendant had his own attorney.
Okay.
That's the deductible.
Okay.
Yeah, yep. If it was a court-appointed attorney, if it would have been, then maybe, but
So we've had to supplement the
legal catastrophic,
the premium for that basically a couple times this year because of,
yeah.
because of
Because
the
it's higher
different
than,
cases around the
yeah,
state.
cases.
higher than we anticipated when we set up the budget, so. Okay, we have motion and a second.
Any more discussion?
Just one point,
One
Mr.
more
Chairman.
question, Gable?
It's just a comment on, under government buildings, just for your information, there's probably the second to last bill for the sprinkler system is there under Prairie Sons, it's $4,528.73. So, just in case you're wondering what that. Which page is that? Page 5.
So what was the question?
No, it's not a question, it's just a comment, just to
Okay,
draw your
all right.
attention
Yeah.
to that.
Okay.
All right.
See that.
Oh,
Anything
Prairie Sons,
else?
Okay.
Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Let's look then at the supplements. Action to approve automatic budget supplements, and what do we have there this week?
I have one in the amount of $557.82. We can supplement the emergency management budget with anticipated grant fund reimbursement.
All right,
Motion to approve.
approved by Gable,
Second.
second by Van Dusen. Any discussion?
These are Homeland Security grant funds, and they are for antennas.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Personnel changes, I have none here.
I have nothing for 13 or 14.
I have nothing either. Good. Old business, mature business. We have any old business to discuss? No old business? How about new business? Anything new? Boy, nice and quiet this morning. How about for the open? I have one thing. I'll start right out. Be sure tonight, put on your calendar. There is a meeting up on the 4th floor of Lake Area Tech, and that's in reference to the work that's being done on the Lake Kempeska Improvement Project. And we really appreciate any input that comes from the community. I've had a chance to visit with a few people, and there are some good ideas out there. But basically, it's a kind of come and go thing. It starts at 4, goes to like 7.
7:30.
7:30. There's 4 stations, and you can go to the different stations and see what is being discussed in reference to the fishery or clean water and so on and so forth.
Kind of
And-
an open house format.
yeah, kind of an open house format, and so I invite everybody in the community to go up there and just see what's being done. It's a long, drawn-out project. The lake didn't get the way it is overnight, and it's not going to get back to pristine overnight either. It's going to take many, many years and a lot of money, and so we want to be real on top of whatever the possibilities are and ideas that we have out there. Anything else for the open?
There could be a possible quorum at, there's a legislative preview, the Elks on Thursday at 3. I don't know if anyone is going to be attending the ball game on Saturday here, but maybe we could have a quorum of commissioners at that.
Ball
I'm
game.
hoping
What
it's
ball game?
girls basketball game, Saturday, starts at 4.
Do we have to, I don't think we have to report that, do we?
Well, if there's a quorum, maybe there'll be a quorum of us there. Also,
I got one
I'm
chair.
hoping that there'll be a quorum of commissioners at Kransberg on Sunday morning from 11 to 1 for a soup day. I expect you all to be there.
For what day?
Soup Day,
Soup day.
Transburg.
Other than that, I guess I don't really have
Anything else?
anything
Anyone
else.
How
Other
are-
Monday morning, planning and zoning at 9, but they usually
How are the
miss
new
that.
email, how are the new emails
Good.
working?
Working very well.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
okay.
Emails are doing
Government
good.
affairs.
Myron, I have,
Government affairs tomorrow morning too. I think it's 7:30.
What's that?
Government affairs is tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So
I'll be going to Pier for the exec board meeting, so if there's anything that you want to have me relay.
just about the, yeah, to deal with that tax, the resolution.
I was hoping to fly, but I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's unfortunate, and I did talk to some of the individuals on the board out there, and they got some planes down, and we had some difficulty this past week.
Well, yesterday they said all 8 flights were canceled, I guess I heard, I don't know, so.
I think so.
Some of our auditors that were supposed to come in for the state retirement board meeting, a couple of them had to fly into Rapid City, then rent a car and drive to Pier, and one never made it, just didn't show because the planes weren't flying, they're down.
A lot of
And it's being
mechanical
corrected.
issues?
What?
Mechanical issues?
Mechanical, yeah. Well, mechanical, and then one of them ran into the hangar out at Pier, nipped the hangar with a wing or something, or one of the buildings, and
Yeah, it
so.
happens.
It's,
a loader, wasn't it, or something?
anyway, when you get a wind nip, then that takes it out of commission.
Well, and there is one that's in regular maintenance that takes quite a time to do anyways, so.
Mr. Chair, I have just a couple things.
Yeah.
I'll be attending the Coffee with Watertown Mayor on Friday at 2 o'clock, and that's going to be at the Wheel Inn, I believe, if anybody else is planning on being there, so I'll be there. I'm also ringing the Salvation Army bell at Walmart on
Good for
Saturday
you.
at 4.
Oh, yeah.
So stop by and say hi. Should have kept the beard. Yeah, the beard had to go.
Are you going to sing to draw people in, or
No,
run
Don told
away,
me
or-
not to quit my day job earlier, so.
You looked at the forecast and then decided that would be the day, didn't you?
Yeah, I think
good
so.
for
I
you.
did it last year, and I think it was like almost 35 below zero outside with the wind
So
chill.
you still get
so it's cold.
50% commission?
No, no
Oh, you don't,
commission.
no.
But that's for the Salvation Army, so.
There's a
Come on
2%
by.
increase this year.
All right,
Appreciate it.
anything else?
Has everybody gotten the flyer about the potluck in the director's office a week from tomorrow?
Yes.
a lot of-
Yeah, there isn't many things on there. I'm trying to decide what to do, so.
I was going to make these chocolates.
The other thing too, the other thing is,
Good one.
Take those back.
the collection of pajamas that the sheriff is encouraging, be sure, and I cleared it with the sheriff. He'll take Fruit of the Loom and DVDs and 3-packs. Said he don't care what it is as long as they're new. So,
Don't give used.
There's been a really good response. They've
Good.
gotten
I see there's a
large number.
bunch of pajamas hanging across the hall in the
And the sheriff's office has a large
Yeah.
number already collected, so.
It's hard for people, I think, to understand, but, you know, when they have to take a child out of the home or, you know,
Yeah.
move them to a different position, that they don't have pajamas. And it's hard for a lot of us to understand that, but those that are involved in that type of thing, they say it happens all the time.
Well,
I have,
you get uprooted. at-
yeah,
And Troy knows this very much, 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's cold out.
yeah,
What do you do? I mean, it creates multiple problems.
yeah, that's right. I have no requests for any exec sessions
motion
today.
to
Does anyone
adjourn.
else have any?
No, make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Hatton to adjourn. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Motion second by Gable. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. That
Thank you, everyone.
short
Chris.
meeting.
Yes, yes, it has been
Brenda,
employed,
you want to go deal with this?
What's that?
They need a decision on this.
$60 into supplemental retirement plan, the board will match at $30 per month.
Put more in, is there?